Hello, nice to meet you. This is Kim Ki-hyun from Richgo. Finally, the first data for September has been released. The first data for September was made public on the second Friday of the month, and today I will talk about how the data has changed in September. It is clearly visible that the metropolitan area has definitely declined, while some regions in the provinces are on the rise. Previously, the provinces were not doing well while the metropolitan area was, but now the metropolitan area is declining and some regions in the provinces are currently improving as confirmed by the data. I will go through the details one by one. This is the first data compiled for September, which was released just before Chuseok. If you look, Seoul has moved to the left, indicating that the buying and selling demand in Seoul has declined. Incheon has also moved to the left, showing a decline as well. Gyeonggi province has also declined. So all three areas in the metropolitan region are clearly showing a decline in September. On the other hand, can you see Daegu, which has been doing poorly until now? Daegu is moving up to the right, indicating improvement, and Sejong is also improving. Next, Busan is also improving. Then Daejeon is getting better as well. Following that, Chungcheongnam-do is also showing improvement, and Chungcheongbuk-do is improving too. So, as you can see, Gyeongsangbuk-do is also currently getting better. Overall, and it seems that the provincial areas are gradually gaining strength again, while the metropolitan area is now almost at its peak and starting to decline, and this has been confirmed by the current data. Alright, then let's take a look at each region, one by one. First, let's look at Seoul. The buying and selling demand in Seoul peaked in mid to late July, then reached a second peak in mid-August, and has been clearly declining since then. So, it is evident that the buying and selling demand is decreasing. Notably, the red line indicating high number of buyers has dropped significantly. What does this mean? It shows that the number of people looking to buy homes is clearly decreasing, as reflected in the data. Meanwhile, the high number of sellers has slightly increased. This suggests that sellers who already own homes might be thinking that the situation is improving again, which is why, as you can see, the initial rise has not been significant yet. Now, looking at Incheon, we see that the buying and selling demand peaked on August 25th and has been declining for 2 consecutive weeks. Similarly, in Gyeonggi province, we can see that the buying and selling demand has been decreasing for 3 consecutive weeks. The red line indicating high number of buyers is also clearly showing a decline. Therefore, while the metropolitan area is not doing well, a notable region in the provinces is Jeollabuk-do. So, how is Jeollabuk-do doing? Look at this, it's improving, isn't it? What did Kim Gi-hoon say? He didn't say that Jeollabuk-do is all bad, right? The metropolitan area is currently facing a lot of difficulties. The regions in the metropolitan area are quite risky, especially those that have reached the shoulders or the top of the head. However, there are some areas that are already undervalued in the provinces, and I mentioned that you should pay attention to securing your own home there. How is Jeollabuk-do doing right now? It is continuously improving. The demand for buying and selling is still getting better, and the buying power is still reviving. Additionally, the rental demand is also good. Among the provinces, Jeollabuk-do stands out as being quite good at the moment. Next, the second is Ulsan. Although Ulsan has seen a slight decline, the overall trend for both rental and sales is still on the rise. So Ulsan is also in a situation that is not bad, looking quite good. Now, how about Chungcheongbuk-do? The situation has improved slightly, and the demand for jeonse, long-term lease, is continuing to get better. However, in the case of Gangwon province, the demand is still decreasing, indicating that it is not doing well. Nevertheless, the jeonse demand is not bad. Recently, the atmosphere in Gangwon province has been worsening over the past few weeks, similar to the metropolitan area, showing a decline. Looking at Gyeongsangbuk-do, it is gradually improving, and the jeonse demand is also getting better. I believe that Gyeongsangbuk-do will be one of the regions to pay attention to after the middle of next year. Next is Chungcheongnam-do, which is one of the areas I view positively. Although it hasn't reached a critical point yet, it is slowly recovering, and the jeonse demand is also gradually gaining strength in Daejeon. The demand for buying and selling has also shown some recovery, and the jeonse demand has improved as well. This indicates that the jeonse market in Daejeon is starting to awaken. How does Sejong, which is right next to Daejeon, look? We are all working hard together. So, in the case of Sejong, it's been several years, hasn't it? At this level, it has improved to the point of being as good as the recent buying and selling demand in almost a year. So, in the case of Sejong, there really isn't any sign of new residents, right? So, the number of sellers is decreasing and there hasn't been much change in the number of buyers. However, as the number of people wanting to sell decreases, the demand for buying and selling is improving. Additionally, how is the rental market? The rental demand is also getting better, right? So, it seems that the atmosphere in Daejeon and Sejong is gradually gaining strength. Now, what about Busan? In Busan, the buying and selling demand hasn't changed much yet, but the rental demand is improving. If the rental demand continues to steadily increase and surpasses 140 or 150, the buying and selling market could also turn around. So, while the buying and selling market is still somewhat frozen, the rental market is steadily improving. Now, let's talk about Daegu, which was the worst off. How is Daegu doing? Daegu also saw a red light around September of last year. So there are some positive trends emerging in the Daegu market, albeit slowly. However, the demand for Jeon's long-term rental is still not good. For the Daegu real estate market to improve, the Jeon's demand must clearly rise above 100, and the Jeon's market itself needs to stabilize and strengthen. Only then can we expect a recovery in property prices. Additionally, among the metropolitan cities, only Gwangju is still experiencing a negative atmosphere. Gwangju has dropped down and to the left in the case of Jeollanam-do, while the demand for Jeonse is still decent. The demand for buying and selling is still somewhat frozen. Therefore, the real estate market remains somewhat stagnant. And then, there's Jeju Island. The demand for buying and selling in Jeju Island rose slightly, but then fell again, while the demand for Jeonse is steadily decreasing. So, the situation in Jeju Island is not very positive either. The most noticeable change in September is that the buying and selling demand in the metropolitan area is declining, while various regions in the provinces are showing some positive changes, albeit gradually. This seems to be the biggest change in September. Now, let's take a look at the transaction volume. Looking at the transaction volume, this is Seoul. Can you see the volume? The first data for September shows that the highest transaction volume was on July 21st, but the transaction volume has drastically decreased. The volume of buying and selling transactions has significantly dropped, and even the volume of Jeon's transactions has completely plummeted. As a result, both buying and Jeon's transactions are currently in complete disarray. This is what has been confirmed so far. Next is Incheon, where the transactions have decreased significantly compared to the previous week. The rental market has also decreased. In Incheon, both buying and rental transactions have significantly dropped. Next is Gyeonggi province, where transactions have also decreased considerably compared to the previous week. The Jeon's long-term lease has also decreased. So, what are these three areas in the metropolitan area? Transactions are currently decreasing quite significantly. The decline in the market is reflected in the decrease in Jeon's transactions, while the leftward movement indicates a decrease in sales transactions. Both buying and Jeon's transactions are showing this trend in the metropolitan area, leading to a worsening supply and demand situation, and transactions are also heading in a rather negative direction. However, as I mentioned earlier, Sejong is showing improvement in supply and demand, and looking at the transaction volume, it is also positive. Can you see how Sejong's transaction numbers are doing? The transaction trend is improving significantly. Moreover, Jeon's transactions have also increased considerably. As a result, Sejong is experiencing a surge in transactions and gaining momentum. If we consider this, unless there is a significant decline in the metropolitan market, there is a possibility that positive changes may occur in Sejong City. And who is next to Sejong? Daejeon is present, so we need to look at Daejeon as well. Daejeon has seen a slight decrease, but it is still in a somewhat concerning situation. The rental market has also slightly decreased. Therefore, it is definitely not performing as well as Sejong. Additionally, Daejeon has some supply, while Sejong has no supply. This means that Sejong's demand and transactions are clearly improving, whereas Daejeon is still experiencing a decline in transactions. Next, in the case of Gyeongsangnam-do, the transaction trends are not bad. The Jeon's market isn't bad either. In Gyeongnam, for example, both buying and selling as well as Jeon's transactions are showing a slight increase. In Gyeongsangbuk-do, however, transactions are fluctuating a bit and are decreasing. Jeonse transactions are also relatively stable. In the case of Gwangju, the average for buying and selling, or Jeon's, is somewhat higher than the average, but it has decreased compared to Jeonju. Similarly, Ulsan is also experiencing a decline in transactions again. And to those living in Ulsan, I want to say that now is not a bad time. I mentioned that it's uncertain whether prices will rise recklessly in the next 5 or 10 years, and that this is not the right opportunity to buy in Ulsan. However, if you are considering buying at an auction, I said that it is still a good time. Even now, regions where it is acceptable to buy at auction include Ulsan, Chungcheongnam-do, and Daegu. I think it's fine to purchase through auction in these areas. I am observing that while there are certainly regions that will improve in the future, I mention this because the metropolitan area, which is the leader of the South Korean real estate market, is currently declining. I anticipate that there will be a significant drop in the metropolitan real estate market in the second half of next year. If that happens, the shock will be felt nationwide simultaneously. In such a case, even the best regions will likely experience a setback. Therefore, I think it might be wise for conservative individuals to wait a bit longer. Real estate is best purchased when it is truly safe, allowing us to relax and feel comfortable. As for Busan, while the supply and demand have improved, transactions are gradually decreasing. Ideally, both supply and demand should improve along with transactions, but it is a bit disappointing that while supply has improved, transactions have decreased. In the case of Jeju Island, both buying and renting transactions have decreased. Jeollanam-do has also seen a decline and is currently not doing well. Gangwon province has seen a slight increase, but it is still in a fluctuating downward trend, having risen slightly compared to Jeonju. It can be seen that the trading activity in the metropolitan area is greatly decreasing among both buyers and sellers. So, looking at the data from September, it is clear that both supply and demand as well as transactions are distinctly declining, while some regions in the provinces are showing slight positive changes as confirmed by the data. Now that the first week of September has passed, it seems that there won't be any data released this Friday. Therefore, next Friday we will be able to see data for early October. Since there won't be any data released this week, I don't think we will be able to broadcast the trends in supply and transaction data next week. I will discuss this again in early October. If this trend continues, it would be good to keep in mind that prices might start to decline around mid-October to November. Additionally, I have 2 very important lectures scheduled for October. The first one is on Saturday, October 12th, and I will be giving a lecture on the real estate market outlook based on data from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the second Saturday. Attending this lecture will help you understand how the real estate market might move based on data, especially since we are already seeing signs of a turning point as reported by the fastest real estate agent association. Based on the price data, in August, apartment prices in Seoul dropped by a staggering 4.5%. This is very different from what we know, right? I have been continuously warning about these aspects, so it is clear that a turning point has occurred, and I anticipate that 2025 will be a year of tremendous upheaval in the real estate market. Therefore, for those interested in real estate or looking to secure their assets, I highly recommend signing up for the Real Estate Outlook lecture starting on October 12th at 11 a.m. There are both online and offline options available, and you can refer to the fixed link. Additionally, there is something even more important. What is it? It is the Auction Genius lecture that will be held in collaboration with our representative Kim Tae-hoon and myself starting in the afternoon of October 12th. I have personally invested in about 20 properties through Richgo, and the most effective method has been combining big data with auctions. This allows you to acquire your home at an incredibly low price. I am also saying that a really good time to secure a home through auctions is approaching, and some regions have already started to see this. So truly, 50 million won. There is a way to buy properties for 100 million, 200 million, or even 300 million to 400 million won cheaper. Isn't that great? However, the important thing here is the selection of the area. Auctions can allow you to buy properties cheaply, but when combined with big data, you can purchase properties in areas that have already dropped to knee level or below the waist through auctions. What does that mean? It means you can buy them at a very, very low price. Therefore, I have specially prepared a lecture that can save your assets by 50 million, 100 million, or several hundred million won. Let me briefly explain. This is the lecture page, and there are both online and offline lectures available. You can apply for the online lecture a bit later. So, what are we doing with big data? We are identifying profitable areas and then investing in well-selected auction properties through the eyes of experts, which can lead to really good real estate investments. I will be covering these topics in my lecture, and these will eventually lead to a membership program. So, For those who are interested, especially those who want to secure properties through auctions at a very low price, this will be very beneficial. I have also prepared an early bird event. The number of applicants for the offline event is not that many. There are 40 people, so I recommend clicking quickly to check the comments below. For those who want to attend offline, it would be good to apply. The regular price is 110,000 won, but in this lecture, I will discuss promising real estate areas that I am currently revealing only to VIP members who have paid 3.3 million won. I will base this on data to determine whether this area is one of the best regions in the country for real estate investment. This will not just be a casual disclosure like what I do on YouTube. I plan to provide a very high quality analysis of real estate for my VIP members. That's why in the past I used to charge 1 million won for this content, but to provide special benefits to many people, I have lowered the price to 110,000 won. If you apply by September 31st, what will happen? You can sign up as an early bird for a discounted price of 66,000 won, which is a remarkable 40% off. So I think it would be great for those who really want to acquire a home through auction to listen to this. Of course, we will provide the recorded materials as well. For more details, please check the pinned comment below this video. Don't forget to attend the Real Estate Market Outlook lecture on October 10th in the morning and in the afternoon. It would be great to see how the combination of big data and auctions can create an incredible synergy effect that can enhance your assets.